so inspiring to see everyone's work today come together. And speaking of inspiration, I'm really thrilled for our next group, our triad, to come to the table with us. I first want to welcome Jessica McCracken to the stage with me. Jessie is my colleague and the director of Creative Spark program that we're both in, our host today. Jessica's been the artist really since she was a wee one, creating and educating others for many years in a huge variety of mediums. She's the artistic director of Trash Mashup. She's a co-founder of Creative Aging San Francisco. And though she's skilled in many mediums, as I said, I think Jessica's highest talent lies in the art of forming authentic spaces for belonging. In everything she does, she brings an innate joy and a connection that invites others to explore and express themselves really through the power of creativity. And she's done that for me and in my own life. So Jessica, thank you for creating welcoming spaces for exploration. And I want to turn it over to you to welcome our next guest.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Katie. And wow, what an amazing event here today. And yes, that's the true excitement for me, is creating art with other people and bringing creativity out of folks with untapped potential. And that's why I'm so excited and honored to be introducing you all to Christine Wong Yap and Nancy Simpson, NMS. So excited to have you all today. Let me just share a little bio with everyone for you both. Christine uses social practice, drawing, printmaking, and publishing to explore dimensions of well-being, such as belonging, interdependence, and collaboration. She conducts participatory research and displays the outcomes in site-specific installations. We're going to hear more about that today. Christine, I was so excited to see this. You were one of YBCA's 100 in 2020. That's a super big deal. I love it. And received many grants, from the Queen's Council on the Arts, the Jerome Foundation, and the Center for Cultural Innovation. Beautiful. Christine's work has been exhibited all over. I mean, from LA to New York, from Poland to Portland, Manchester, UK to Manila, Philippines. Just incredible. It's a delight to have you today with us at the Creative Aging Symposium. And Nancy, woo! Oh my goodness, meeting you. I've just been holding that moment with me. So I'm so excited to welcome you to the rest of the crowd. A lifelong singer, starting in the church and school and later studying music in college. Nancy lives by the motto, music makes everything better. And that's just beautiful. And we've been experiencing that ourselves today. Nancy performed with a variety of ensembles, including New York Christmas Revels, the Blue Hill Troupe, Canterbury Choral Society, Art Mob, international choruses, off-Broadway, and more. Your creativity knows no bounds. You're a Reiki master, watercolorist, ukulele player, tap dancer. You spread creativity through your joy and your generosity. Come to find out that you're the founder of the William W. and Nancy Moore Simpson Endowment for Senior Programs in the Arts at the Salvation Army. That's just amazing. So welcome both of you today. Christine, I'm gonna throw it to you. Can you tell us more? We're gonna focus on one of your many projects. Can you tell us about the process of creating How I Keep Looking Up?
Sure thing. And thank you so much for the warm introduction. And thanks to Katie and Kavia for having me here. And thanks to everyone else for joining me on this nice Thursday morning. I have some images that I'm going to share. So the project I'm going to share today is called How I Keep Looking Up. It was a project that I did as a public artist in residence with Times Square Arts, which is located, you guessed it, in Times Square, New York City. oops, here. Times Square Arts created this public artist in residence program because everybody knows Times Square as a place that you visit. Maybe you go there for New Year's Eve for the ball drop or just to go see all the lights and excitement. But not a lot of people know that Times Square is also a place where people live, including many seniors. So they wanted to highlight an organization called Encore Community Services. And we have Jennifer Esquino here in attendance today from Encore. I worked closely with her with every public art project. It's super important to have a champion inside the organization that you're collaborating with. And Jennifer was that champion. So thank you, Jennifer. So here's a photo of one of the seniors that I worked with. Her name's Zoila. She's cute. I don't know how else to describe it, but this is her in her living room and we went to do a video interview with her. So the goal of the project, or the main part of the project, is that I worked with 11 seniors to co-design flags to represent their sources of resilience. And I have been interested in flags for a long time. This is an image of a previous project that I had done involving some flags. So you can see 5 very colorful flags. These are all just geometric designs. There's nothing representational about them, and they're being walked in a procession in this kind of wooded area. So the reason I was interested in flags in the first place is that I had heard a psychological study, where researchers asked people to tell a story while they were moving a block on a toy. And when they were moving the block in an upwards direction, they told the story in a more optimistic way. And then when they would move the block in a downward direction, it was not as positive. So I thought it was interesting to try and play with, how do I get people to physically look up? And maybe they would also figuratively look up as well. And I thought flags would be the perfect way to do that. So we started the process in the beginning of 2021. So at this point, it was like a year into the pandemic. The vaccines were just starting to roll out, and many of the seniors had been isolated and homebound for a year. So we did some online workshops, and I invited them to think about resilience. And it could be, how have you been resilient over this past year of the pandemic? Or maybe what were other times in your life that you have had to be resilient? So I'm going to walk you through the process of how one person created their flag design. So this is Marjorie Deborah Kahn's sketches. For her, she loves rescuing animals, but the very painful part of having a pet is when the pet dies. So she shared a story about her dog named Nike, who she loved very much, and then Nike died and she was very depressed. And she's like, I can't do this again. It's too hard. So these are some sketches. They're little pencil drawings. You can see an eye with some tears, a person lying down and crying, a nice memory of the person and the dog at the beach, a person with that's crying with a broken heart. So then the next step was, I had a one-on-one session with her where I tried to help her simplify her design, because it's hard to sew very detailed little things and then also have it be visible in a flag that's flapping in the wind. So you really got to make it more iconic. So these are 4 very quick marker sketches. You can see there's 4 different designs, all using hearts and using variations of kind of the sea, the crying eye, or just a tear. From there, we simplified it into this kind of very quick marker sketch, which is just a big heart inside a rectangle. The heart is broken, and then there's silhouettes of some dogs. It doesn't look like dogs, it looks like horses. So after that, I created a final design on the computer. So this is more of a clean graphic design of the flag. So there's a black background with a white heart that's broken. So even though the heart is broken, we thought it was important to show that the heart is very large because it can hold all these animals. So there's a silhouette of a cat, of a small dog, and a greyhound, which is another animal that Margie helped to rescue. And then there's some paw prints as well, because there's so many other animals she's rescued. And then all the silhouettes are in rainbow colors because she wanted to reference a thing called the Rainbow Bridge, which I never heard of before that, but it's a place, a mystical place where animals go to await their owners to be reunited. So after we created that design, then I created this very simple sewing pattern. So it's the same design, just outlines. And then I handed it off to a stitcher. I can sew, but I can't sew 11 flags in the quick enough time to do this project. So a really cool thing was that we were able to hire stitchers from the local theater community because at this point, Broadway had been closed. They had gone dark for 12 months already, and a lot of people were out of work. And we went through the Theatrical Wardrobe Union, the local 764 of IATSE, and then we were able to hire a handful of stitchers who sewed the flags, and we were able to pay them at the rate that they usually get paid at, which was really nice. So this is Aislinn Smith, and she's sewing at home. She's sewing one of the flags. And that's a photo of the finished flag. So same design, just in fabric. And I think it takes on a different life when it's in the material that can move. And so this is a photo of Margie. We had a launch event on Flag Day, which is June 14th of last year. You can see she's very vibrant, colorful, wearing a sequined dress. She kind of looks like a mermaid with like a rainbow cape. And then we also had sashes made to kind of match the flag so that the public would know which senior artist created which flag. And Margie is standing next to the base of her flagpole. The bottom of each flagpole has space for a sign that has the person's name. It's also got a little touch graphic of the flag. So if you touch it, the different colors have different textures and people can feel it if they are unable to see it. And then below that, there's the statement about what the flag means. So there's kind of the backstory, and that's in English, Chinese, Spanish, and then also English Braille. So this is a photo of the installation with the 11 flags. The flags are about 16 feet tall, and they're in this plaza in Times Square. It's pretty iconic. There's a gazillion billboards around, so it's hard to take good photos of this installation. But a really cool thing is that Times Square is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and a lot of people pass through it. And we don't have the exact numbers of how many people actually saw the installation, but we know during the 8 weeks that the installation was up, about 3 million people passed through the neighborhood of Times Square. And then here's a photo of all of the seniors who made it to the launch event. It's not all of them. There were a few who weren't feeling too well. It was a rainy day too. But yeah, you can see this is just a group photo of all of the seniors in attendance with their sashes with the flags in the background. So Nancy was one of the seniors, and I would love to pass it to her to share more of your experience. Let me close this.
Okay, my name is Nancy, and I was one of the fortunate 11 seniors to be able to create a flag for this project. And it was really exciting because there wasn't much going on with COVID, keeping everybody inside. So it just really sparked my interest when it was an art project and we could do it at home, and it just sounded so wonderful that you could kind of create something, and it was really great. So I wasn't real sure how to sort of share my personal story, because I was a caregiver for my husband for many, many years, and there were many ups and downs related to that, and depression and other things that came into that. But anyway, I was glad to be able to do the project, and Christine was just great working with each of us to help us sort of solidify what we really wanted to show and how to create it on a flag so that other people could look at it and maybe, get some kind of inspiration or some kind of thoughts from it. So it was really just a great thing to do. So mine ended up being more of like a piano keyboard with different colors, rays of colors coming out from it, because in a way, playing the piano and singing and music, which does make everything better, I think, was always sort of my therapy. Whenever I was feeling kind of low or didn't know what to do, I would go to the piano and play some songs and maybe sing, maybe not, but it always made me feel better. So it was really great that the exhibit was up for quite a long time. I went down to Times Square several different times to see my flag, because it was just such a treat to have that going on. I've lived in New York City for about 40 years, and to actually say that I had something in Times Square was just really, really cool. So I told people about it, and I used my initials on my flag, NMS, for Nancy Moore Simpson, because I was a little bit shy about putting my whole name out there for everybody to wander around and see. But anyway, I went down one afternoon and there was a lady looking at my flag, and that really pleased me. She was reading my story, and I stopped her and I said, "Oh, by the way, that's my flag." And it was just really exciting. And she said, "It's really great to read your story." She said, "I've gotten a lot of good thoughts from that. It's very hopeful." And she said, "I'm gonna try to do what I can." So it was really great to see somebody actually there looking at it, taking the time to read it, because we're also inundated with so many different things that you wonder if people will even stop long enough to read something that might only take them 2 or 3 minutes to read. So it was just really an inspiration for me that she got something out of it, and it really made my day. So I hope others, all these 3 million people that wandered through Times Square, I'm sure some of them stopped and read the different stories, and there were a lot of different stories, so that was good too, because everybody has a different story, and so you just never know what you might pick up from reading, what somebody else has been through, or what's made them happy, sad, anything like that. So it was really, really a great treat, and I'm glad I was able to do it. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love how the public art component really gives the project its complete voice. It's where, the viewer is a part of the project, and the attention to making it accessible then for everyone to be a part of that dialogue, translating it, having the Braille-esque imagery so everyone can experience the project, I think is really beautiful. And I love hearing the stories of, it's almost the heartache, telling the story of the broken heart and the animals, and the courage, Nancy, that you have, in the love that you have present in yours. It reminds me of something Cleta said this morning in her opening statement about failure being a part of growth. And I think there is that, failure, heartache, falling down, that's a part of how we look up and connected to our resilience. How does that then relate, would you say, Christine, to belonging and creating this space to reflect on resiliency both for the artist and for the viewer, how does that increase our sense of community, increase our sense of self, increase our sense of belonging?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I've been thinking about belonging for a long time in various projects, and then resilience for a long time. And I think there's a lot of overlap between the two. I think when you have a space of belonging, that means you feel safe and accepted and able to be vulnerable. So that allows you to take risks, and taking risk is what allows you to grow. Like, that's a super important part of having a growth mindset, is not being afraid to fail or to feel like if you make a mistake, it's the end of the world and someone will judge you, because that feeling is shame, and shame is the fear of disconnection. But if you know you will be able to recover from your mistake or learn from your mistake, then your connection is not at risk, because you don't feel judged. And I think being resilient also helps foster a sense of belonging as well. And I think there's a lot of different ways that people practice resilience. And I think the classic way we think about is that you encounter an adversity and then you show resilience. But there's another way, which is there isn't an adversity, there's just your own comfort zone, and you reach outside of it a little bit, right? And I think sometimes that comfort zone is just your willingness to be vulnerable or not vulnerable in different spaces with different people. And sometimes, you know, with relationships, it takes somebody to make the first move and to say, hey, let's do something together. Or, you know, let's share this experience. Or, you know what, I'm going to talk about my feelings right now. And so I think like having a little bit of resilience to like take that first step, I think can also help foster a sense of belonging. So I think it's like a cycle where they both feed each other.
100%. I love that.
So can I just interrupt? I should have included some slides of Nancy's flag. Can I just share a couple images right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And both of you, the chat's just going wild. People are just
great.
hearing you, sending
Yeah,
so much
here's the
love.
photo.
Oh, here we go, Nancy.
Yeah, that's Nancy and her flag. And then I open these all in different windows, so I have to like reshare different ones. And this is a close-up of the finished flag.
So cool. Yeah.
Nancy, do you want to just say a little bit about like the design?
Yeah, like I said, since music is so much a part of me, and the piano was kind of where I got started, I wanted to show that. And then I also wanted to show that all the different colors can spread out all the time. And it's just a matter of us tuning in to try to see what we can hear or feel or touch. And, you know, so many Broadway shows are musicals, and we have music in church services. We have music going on all the time. So music can really speak to your heart when sometimes you can't find the right words to say. So.
Oh my goodness, I'm writing that down. Is someone else writing that down? Because it's a matter of tuning in too. I loved that. Nancy, you know, one thing that I have found and I think about a lot is creative confidence, you know, and creating a space where people are willing to be vulnerable and willing to try something new. Nancy, can you speak briefly on where you get your creative confidence?
Well, I've always been creative, I thought. I'm just always finding other ways to do things. And when I was younger, like I've mentioned before, the competitiveness of certain things would make me shy away. I can't be that good doing that. I really don't know what I'm doing. They'll laugh at me. They'll think I'm crazy. They'll, you know, whatever. So as I've gotten older, maybe that's a good thing. I'm just more into wanting to do things. I want to participate. If somebody invites me to do something that sounds interesting to me, then I'm going to try it. It may not turn out to be something I want to continue doing, but sometimes you just never have any idea what's out there unless you're willing to at least kind of do a little jump start. So you have to kind of get over that. And if you're going to really feel good about things and find some new stuff, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I connect with you so much around that. I think we're cut from the same cloth, probably the same Christine Wong Yap resiliency flag cloth of amazingness.
There we go.
You know, and when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned this song, and I immediately looked it up because I was familiar, but I wasn't terribly familiar. But you mentioned you would, you know, share a bit of it with us today, and I think it really relates. The title being
Look
for the silver lining. Yeah.
She's going to get an instrument. Oh,
I'm
here we
gonna
go.
try to play it with my ukulele. I'm not sure of the delay, but you can get an idea.
We're here with you. Thank you.
Okay. Look for the silver lining whene'er a cloud appears in the blue. Remember, somewhere the sun is shining, and so the right thing to do is make it shine for you. A heart full of joy and gladness will always banish sadness and strife. So always look for the silver lining and try to find the sunny side of life.
Mm.
There you go.
Yes. Thank you, Nancy. And the ukulele sounded beautiful. I'm so inspired. I'm full, I'm lifted, and I hope everyone, and I know I'm seeing it just come in. Wow, we are here with you. We see you, we celebrate you. Christine, thank you. And, you know, we're rooting you on from the president of your newest, biggest fangirl club, rooting you on and wishing you continued success in your explorations.
Thank you
Keep them
so
coming
much.
towards us.
Thank you so much for sharing space with me, Nancy, Jessica, everybody. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. That was wonderful. What a note to go out on, Nancy. I hope y'all have a lovely day, and thank you, Jessica, for leading us through that bit. I want to take a minute. We have a lot of partners on the line with us today who it's sponsored at different levels: Curry Senior Center, Onlock, DeRote, Community Living Campaign, and Village Movement California. We couldn't do the work we do without these partners. We're so grateful for you all. As Christine illustrated, those partnerships are critical for a sense of community. And so we thank you. I'm going to invite to the stage O'Shea Luja with us and tell you a little bit about O'Shea. Let me see if I can get him there. All right.